Can they require us to have a courtroom here?
I haven't, you need to talk to your very capable county attorney.
No conflict of interest there.
I'm with me, because I don't hold court.
Okay, well, it's good we can do. I was under the mistaken impression we could determine whether or not we needed a courtroom in Churchill. But Judge Phillips has told me that that's not the authority of this committee. So, yeah.
Let me point of order, I guess. Can this committee discuss the issues with continuing to have court in Churchill and then make a recommendation to the county commission as to what we feel is appropriate?
Well,
I'm just asking.
yeah, no, so you in general have participated in one of these in Greene County, which they're pretty good about doing. And what we did there is kind of what I anticipated here. It's just that where court is, we discuss the security needs of court. I think, obviously, there's some good topics for us to discuss, particularly with regard to the courthouse here in town after a recent incident. But the only, and this is all found, just for everyone's education, in Tennessee Code Annotated 16.2.505, in section D is the controlling section with regard to a courtroom security committee that's to be formed, consisting of the county mayor, sheriff, district attorney general, the presiding judge, and a clerk to be designated. Both clerks are here. In fact, I'll read it so it's clear. It is the responsibility of the counties comprising the judicial district to provide a judge elected pursuant to 16.2.506 with sufficient space and facilities in which to conduct business and duties of the court. Each county shall establish a court security committee composed of the county mayor, sheriff, district attorney general, the presiding judge of the judicial district, and a court clerk from the county to be designated by the presiding judge for the purpose of examining the space and facilities to determine the security needs of the courtroom in the county, security needs of the courtrooms in the county in order to provide safe and secure facilities. Upon completion of the examination of security needs, the following procedures shall be followed. The administrative office of the court shall distribute to each court security committee a copy of the minimum security standards as adopted by the Tennessee Judicial Conference. And each committee shall review and consider these standards in determining the court security needs. And Hawkins County has already submitted its court security report for 2022. No later than May 15 each year, the Court Security Committee shall report its findings to the county legislative body and the administrative office of the courts, which here will be the county commission. The county legislative body shall review and consider the recommendations of the Court Security Committee in the preparation of each fiscal year budget. No later than December 1 each year, the county legislative body shall report to the administrative office of the courts and the action taken to meet the security needs. No later than January 15 each year, the administrative office of the court shall report to the General Assembly on the compliance by each county government with the security needs established by the Court Security Committee. So that's our mandate, is to review the security situation and report any findings to the county commission by May 15. So the committee doesn't have any, has no authority to do anything other than review our security.
Okay.
Okay. And sorry, I didn't realize that this was the event that it was. And also, typically, I think it's important to invite everyone that security who's. I don't know if all the judges, all circuit and county judges were notified of the meeting. I think it's a pretty good idea, because they're certainly, okay, good, because they're certain stakeholders, so, it's good to hear from everybody. But they don't have to come this meeting. That being the case, I don't know if there's any way it will particularly proceed what we did over in our neighborhood. Head of courthouse security kind of gave us an update as to where we were. Lieutenant, yeah. Well, let's talk about it. Sure.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The AOC set certain standards as to what should be available for courtroom security, courthouse security. And believe that their standards are not really intense, they're not really great. They're, sort of on the easy side, actually. The first standard is silent bench and clerk's public transaction counter panic buttons connected directly to the sheriff's department or police department. That's the first standard. The second, bulletproof bench and court clerk work area in courtrooms. Third, the availability of armed uniformed guards or court officers in courtrooms during court sessions. Fourth, court security training for court officers, court security briefing on an annual basis for judicial staff and courthouse personnel. Fifth, handheld detectors and wands, in other words. It says a minimum of 2 and/or magnetometers in each county to ensure the safety of each courthouse courtroom. Metal detectors, in other words. Each court building shall have signage posted at each courthouse annex stating that all persons are subject to search by security personnel. Prohibited items are subject to seizure and forfeiture and include, weapons, firearms, any kind of weaponry, things like that. Anything can be transformed into a weapon. And number 7, handheld inspection or security mirrors to ensure that seating and other areas, are safe. And I'll go over each of these one at a time. Each bench that we have in our courtrooms does have a panic button. The clerk's office has panic buttons under their benches. Matter of fact, most offices have panic buttons in the courthouse. So we're there with that. All of our benches are bulletproof. The last AOC requirement was that the clerk's bench be bulletproof, and we have succeeded in that. So the benches in the Justice Center, up at the Churchill City County building, they're all bulletproof. They all have Kevlar. We do have armed uniformed guards. When court's in session, we have bailiffs, and they're there. They are armed, in uniform. We have courthouse security that patrols the courthouse, and recently we have finally got a permanent security person at the courthouse. We only have 1 out of 3 right now. We're still trying to hire the other 2. So we're still continuing to work on that. Number 4, court security training for officers. Tennessee law requires that a court security officer must have a minimum of 40 hours basic training when they first take the job, and then 16 hours every year thereafter. Our officers completed our training back in October of last year. We did our 16 hours mandatory training for that, and then we had 1 officer who completed 40 hours of training because he was new. And we cover various topics during our training, and it changes every year. We have handheld metal detectors in place, and we have stand-up metal detectors in place in the courthouses, and that's number 5. Our detectors are getting old, and they should be replaced, in my opinion. And we do have signage in our courthouses stating various things that are allowed or not allowed in the courthouse, and hours and things like that. And we do have inspection mirrors, which
Lieutenant, let me stop it. this is one of my concerns. This isn't a deliberative body, and it's not that's why it's not supposed to be public. No offense to public. We simply make recommendations. What we don't want to do is publicly disclose all the security measures that we have.
Well, the security measures I'm telling you about are not those things that would be an issue,
Okay.
okay?
I just want to make sure that we're
Yeah.
not.
They're not gonna be an issue. But the fact is that we are meeting, as far as I can tell, most of all the AOC requirements, as far as that goes.
And I've gotten an email, which is where I got a copy of our survey from the ASC, indicating that we were in compliance.
Yeah,
So, thank you, Lieutenant Woods.
yeah.
And I didn't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry, I don't know, were you?
No, that's it. I just wanted to report that I think we are in compliance with the AOC. Like I said, we are continuing to try to hire our third position, that we had budgeted for, and so. But right now, we're, okay shape for that.
Okay. What about any, have you identified any particular needs, say, here in town, the old courthouse downtown?
Ms. Davis has a set of items that we hope to purchase per the, new security plan for the old courthouse. Some electronics, cameras, that sort of thing.
Is that,
And it's to be, it's in the package with the ARPA funds that's to be approved.
is that something that we can maybe attach to any report that we provide to the county commission? I mean, that does strike me as within our purview, because I think what we're to do is to recommend any security improvements that
That
we
would,
identify.
that would be security improvements for the old courthouse downtown and for the annex. Like I said, she has all the information. We did a security survey with a local company and pointed out areas where we could put this equipment, and it goes along with the hiring of security officers for those buildings. So, we're just simply waiting on, however the county wishes to vote on the ARPA money, I guess. But it's in the building plan with, Ms. Davis.
Well, I think that needs to be a part of this committee's report to the county commission, saying that those are security needs that we've identified that we would like to have.
Also in that, within that same building plan is, for the Justice Center, which also includes recording equipment for the courtrooms, and, my request for newer metal detectors and, for a body scanner for the courthouse up there. We would be the first courthouse in East Tennessee to have one in a courthouse, but I think it's something that we're gonna have to get one day.
Well, I'm all for it.
And it's also,
Sorry, I'm looking at it.
it's also in there, under the ARPA money still, so.
Well, it's still something that if we've got to report to the county commission, that I'd like to include in that report.
Yeah. The metal detectors definitely, because ours are sort of getting old. But the body scanner is something that may seem to be a sort of not a necessity, but due to some of the work that we do up there, it's gonna become more of a necessity, I think. You'll probably see them in the future. I know a lot of our jails, including our jail, will soon have a body scanner, but I would like to have one for the Justice Center.
Did you say these were already recommendations that are in front of the county commission?
These were requests in front of the county commission,
About a year ago.
yeah.
Was there grant money that you got to take care of part of?
With the jail got their body scanner and other things through a grant. Of course, that only covered what the jail was able to get. The first
So we still
request,
need the same thing on
the first request was for 2 body scanners, one for the jail, one for the courthouse, and then the jail was able to get theirs through a different grant.
Was this all included in one document? What I'm getting at is
Yes.
it was all included
Yes,
in
it
one
was
document.
included in one thing.
So I guess to get to Judge Phillips' point, if it's appropriate,
Yes, yeah.
I would move that we recommend to the county commission what's been asked for by the sheriff's office in regards to the security of the courthouse, of the old courthouse and the new one.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely appropriate, considering this is, I don't know if we're supposed to follow the Robert's rules, or if this is a committee, but by vote, it doesn't really speak to that, our mandate for the statute, but I can't imagine that anyone would object to doing that. I think it's appropriate, I think that's the very purpose of the meeting, is to recommend that. Thank you, Jim. Sheriff, anything to add to the lieutenant's
No,
areas of
absolutely.
identification?
Everything that we discussed, the templates and we need all that stuff,
Yes, sir.
but updated.
There's no question. Thank you.
Can we talk about security in Churchill?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is there concern about the security in Churchill?
Churchill courtroom is a city-county building. The Churchill building is a city-county building, and the courtroom that they use is a city meeting room. It's not set up as a courtroom, but a city council room. The biggest issues we have, one is the metal detector we have there is actually sitting in the courtroom. And so it's turned extremely down low so it doesn't disturb anyone, and it's sort of in a corner, as you enter the room. The second issue I guess we have with that is that the room has no room to house inmates or people that you take into custody, and it becomes a problem. It means we have to locate somebody to come and pick an inmate up. One thing that we don't do so much anymore is take inmates from the jail to that courthouse. Judge Ross is trying to schedule any in-jail inmates in Rogersville. So he does not do that too often, but we do take people into custody from time to time up there. We also take juveniles there when we have juvenile court, and there again, there's no room, to hold any kind of an inmate, whether it be an adult or a juvenile.
Why is the detector in the courtroom? Is that the only place?
That's about the only place you can put it. Yeah.
Stairwell, right?
There's a stairwell right at the entrance to the courtroom, so you can't set it there because you're
Right.
blocking the stairwell. So that was the only place to put it.
Does that courtroom fall under the requirements to have panic buttons and
Yes,
bulletproof?
and it does. It has. a
Does it have one?
It has bulletproof, yes, sure does. We actually upgraded, a year or so ago, the panic buttons in that building. Because, at the time, there were problems with Churchill City no longer keeping someone all the time in their office during daytime hours. So that when somebody pushed the button, it was going nowhere. And so we have fixed that now, so that when you do push the panic button, it does go somewhere, So that's been rectified. But yeah, there are panic buttons there, and there's Kevlar in the bench now. At the county's installation, we installed the Kevlar. So,
So you put somebody there as a guard, armed?
we do when we have court there. We don't have anybody there at this time. But the original plan was to try to keep somebody up in Churchill.
Just speaking for my sake, we have concerns about the safety, up there, great concerns about it. That we would, however we do that, pass that on to the county commission, that
I think that probably the correct way to do it is exactly how you just said, exactly what James Wood said, excuse me, Lieutenant. That we've identified these security concerns and relay that. Does anyone know how it began up there? Has anyone looked into that?
Judge Brand started.
I know, but if it were done by resolution, it has to be done by resolution.
I have not found a resolution. That doesn't mean there wasn't one.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the statute only requires the county commission to fund a courthouse in the county seat.
I'm not sure of that statute either, General, but
Again, you all have a very capable county attorney. You can ask some of these questions.
One other thing I
Same
do want
outfits.
to comment about is that room, that building doesn't have room for attorneys to meet with clients. It doesn't have room for
Yeah.
counselors to meet with juveniles, that are having problems. We were able at one time to use a small room off that main room, but now that the city doesn't, really like us going back there, they have some security issues of their own, they keep stuff stored or whatever. So they, that's not available to us anymore. And during juvenile court days, you have a lot of people standing in the hallways because those cases are private, so it's just not a real good room for a courthouse. It's what we've got, but it's not what it is.
Like the old, upstairs in the annex, when they used to have juvenile court there, it was always
full, the
the
hallways,
It was a tiny hallway,
yeah.
tensions were running.
And there's even less room up there than there is even in the old courtroom in the annex, because it's just that one little lobby area, and then you've got the stairwell, and there's always a safety issue there too. What if somebody falls down that stairwell? I mean, it's got railings around it, but it's still not the best in the world, so, it's just a lack of room for conferences and things like that, and, there again, no security for inmates, just none at all, We have to either double or triple up on people, or be able to haul them in and out pretty quick to deal with them, so.
I guess my biggest concern, Judge, is when I have a lot of people in that hallway, is there 3 steps being inside a courtroom, if they got potential for a threat or violence, and it's gonna be unavoidable.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I would certainly remember from practicing up there. I'm happy that I don't hope anyway, it is, but, I think that those are all legitimate security concerns that need to be relayed, there's no question. And just so everyone knows, Mr. Cracker's over here taking minutes from which we'll prepare and distribute to everyone who's here, and make those available to the commission as well, which is what we did, I think, generally.
Yes.
In Green County.
That's correct.
Which will include all of these concerns, and that's,
So what we take to the commission from this is just a report on the security issues.
I believe that's,
Okay.
per the statute, I believe that's correct. I mean, that's the way that we've done it in the past.
Yes, I don't disagree with that. But
I
I do think we have the duty to tell the commission there are serious problems with continuing to have court in that space in Churchill.
Yes, yeah, no, I mean, those are all very real concerns
Yeah.
that and I'm sure, I don't know if you ever got up there.
I did.
So you've been there too.
I don't know if it's pushing it or not, but we've got a commission meeting on Monday evening that if we want to provide them with a report, I don't know how quickly we can get something turned.
I think probably we can
Okay.
get that turned around.
I think that's critical information for a decision that they're gonna have to make Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good way to put it. Our role is to give all the information they can, and to kind of beg for things sometimes. I mean, like the full body scanner. But I
Right.
think that that's exactly, what the committee's designed to do is identify where we can improve courthouse security. Yes, sir.
Mayor, would it be feasible or possible today for a representative to present this to the budget committee at a workshop this afternoon at 3:30?
I can summarize it. I'll be there and you'll be there, so we can kind of summarize it. I don't expect a full report by this afternoon.
Yeah,
Just touch on what
Yeah.
we generally touch on.
Absolutely. We'll bring that up.
yeah, and that's fine, but obviously we report, it's our job to report to the county
Right.
commission, not to
Can
the
the,
budget committee.
you think it's appropriate to get that document you've already submitted to county commission that we attached?
Is that possible? The request, all the,
From Ms. Davis has, well, it's all in the request through the ad hoc committee and things like that, so.
If you don't care to tell, it's just Because I'm not certain of what's been already covered by the grant and what we need to. So if you would just put something together.
I'll put something together for this
Okay.
afternoon.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
The clerks, we need to hear from our clerks, because this affects them as much as anybody. Not more.
I'll
They're
say,
there every day.
I'm very pleased with looking with the sheriff's office for getting security there in the courthouse for us. I think that's helped a lot already.
I'm good. I'll accept the bulletproof. Is it clerk's workstations? How about Judge Ross has 2 clerks in there, one for cost review?
Only one, the workstation there, at the bench, that's the one that's bulletproof.
Are we required to do the other one?
It said clerk's workstation, I don't know how you determine that. We may be required to do it since we have to.
Is your other clerk behind in something?
No, they're at the table,
Really,
That's
that's
not good.
yeah.
and he requires 2 in there for 2 separate locations. That would be my only concern, about whether we're meeting that guideline.
What's the guideline?
Bulletproofing, originally it was only for the bench, for the judge's bench. And then AOC came out with another requirement a few years ago that the clerk's workstation should have a bulletproof area too. And so, we had got an AOC grant and purchased, Kevlar sheeting and bulletproofed all the, workstations that we had, plus, the whole bench in Churchill. So, that bench, I don't know if it had anything really far under there or not, but we did purchase enough Kevlar to cover that whole bench. So I do know that the workstations in the juvenile courtroom both, I think, have Kevlar. Because we had 2 working at that time, but at that time when we ordered this, I don't know that we had 2 clerks in there. I can't remember, it's been a while now, so. If that's the case, then we would be probably needing to put more Kevlar in there.
AOC, just for the benefit of those that aren't familiar, is administrative office of courts.
So from this meeting, can we generate the 2023 version of this?
I believe so. I think that there's one box that asks if we've met, and we can certainly check that box.
Yes. Well, I checked it, no,
Well, we hadn't.
we hadn't at the time, so.
For
we have-
2023,
We will.
we have.
So is Lieutenant Woods responsible for generating this?
I guess you,
Actually, in the past, I think at one time Judge Boniface did, and I think the county mayor's office has done it, and the sheriff's office has done it, so. The report actually comes out, it varies differently. Even Randy gets a copy of it, so. You know, everybody has done this report, I think, at some time or another.
I mean,
So do you want to assign somebody?
it makes sense that, Lieutenant, that,
I can do
But,
the report, that's.
but if you need to communicate with any of us regarding that, we can do that at any time. And there isn't a minimum or maximum number, well, there's minimum. I mean, it's supposed to meet once a year.
Once a year.
If necessary, we can, there's nothing that would prohibit the committee from meeting at additional times. But again, the purpose of the meeting is just to identify areas of concern. We just don't have any unilateral authority to take any kind of action. Thank you. For that, and does anyone have anything that we haven't touched upon today? I'm trying to think. I just let me say, particularly very appreciative of courthouse security. They do an extraordinary job, and have for the last 21 years of my involvement with them. So I'm appreciative of Lieutenant Woods and his entire team. They're very accommodating, and they do a wonderful job, and thank you for keeping us safe.
Anytime.
my wife. Maybe not. No.
On certain days.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thank you, Lieutenant. You are. Does anyone else have anything to contribute to today's committee meeting? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's 2022, sir.
So 2022. Yeah.
Um,
I can, just give me that.
All right. Well, without an objection from anyone, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Appreciate y'all's time, really
Thank you,
do.
everybody.
I know everybody's busy, so appreciate it.